All right, welcome to Church Farm Whitetails, and this is Beers and Bows. And tonight we have a very special guest all the way from Panama City. He is a firefighter with Panama City Fire. It is Shanen French. We call him Frenchy here, but mostly we call him a friend.
Yeah.
And tonight it's a little bit different. We're not going to really get into a whole lot of hunting talk. We're going to touch that, but we're going to talk about a program he started. But before we do that, we have started looking for sponsors, and we have our first sponsor, and that's Ironstein Coffee out of Morganfield, Kentucky. And what they have, they brew their own coffee. They have their own beans that they have shipped in. Based in a farming community in Morganfield, Kentucky, we work with our farmers in Columbia to bring you the finest coffee beans. And they sell this coffee and ship this coffee all over the United States. And we're going to start giving our guests a gift every time they come on the show. Now, we got the Christmas because I won't see you again before Christmas. So that's your gift. You are the first recipient of a gift on our show.
I love it.
So we got you some coffee from Morganfield to send back. We gave you their Morganfield, and I think the other one's the bourbon. Now, they have the Whiteout, the Minor, it's a dark roast, and the Blondie, the cold brew, and then again the Kentucky bourbon. So we like to shout out to them and thank Jerry and his partner there at Ironstein Coffee. You can reach them at www.ironsteincoffee, which is www.iron-steincoffee.com. And then on Facebook at Ironstein Coffee. So we'll go ahead and get into, tell us about Lids for Kids, what it is, why you started it, how you got the idea.
All right. So the original plan started in 2014, the very first kid we did. And how it basically started was I had been at the fire service at that particular time, probably about 17 or 18 years. And I was a guy that got pushed on giving the education part when kids would come to the firehouse, the stop, drop, and roll and the whole thing. Then I'd get sent to the schools and started like that. Well, all we had to give out was plastic helmets, the little $5 ones, right, whatever you've seen. And every once in a while I'd meet this person I felt was kind of special. And I'd always say, man, I wish we had something besides this helmet to give them. So one day I was doing this special needs school, and one of the gentlemen in there was about 16 or 17 years old and had all kinds of health issues. And he answered every question that I asked the audience. And there was probably an audience of 200 people. And he was first one with his hand up, blah, blah. So I was like, man, we've got to do something with this kid. We got to do something. So I went back to the firehouse, was thinking about it. And the chief had some old helmets that were out of date. As you know, they expire. And he was wanting to get them chunked in the garbage and haul them off. Since I was one of the firefighter young guys, whatever, he said, take these and go there. And it hit me. I said, why don't we take these helmets, clean them up, get all the carcinogenics off of them, replace the parts, put the kid's name on it. And it just kind of come like that. And I was like, well, let's try one. So I went to my chief. Chief said, okay. We tried it. And the very first one we did, when we went back to the school, the kid was actually in the hospital. I'm making this story a lot longer than it needs to be, but he was in the hospital due to the medications he takes. So we went to the hospital with the fire truck and did the helmet. And he had not moved in about 3 days. They said he was just laying there. He was in a lot of pain because of the kidneys. He was having issues with the side effects of the medication. And I asked his mother, I said, well, let us come in there. I said, here's what we want to do. He wants to be a firefighter. He was really eager to answer the questions. I got a surprise for him. So we walked in. He stood up basically stood up in the bed and was so excited to see us, the fire group. And then we pulled out the helmet, and man, it just wiped that. The nurses were crying. His mom was crying. And we walked out of that room, and I was like, man, this is powerful. So basically that's how it started. And I was like, we got to get more helmets. So in 2014, I took it upon myself to start acquiring helmets. And for the first 8 years, I basically paid for it out of my own pocket, kind of tithing, which ties into what you're talking about here. So this was my way of tithing. And since 2014 to now, this is where we've come. So we're at 71 kids that we've reached out to. We did 4 in Morganfield, Kentucky, as you know. And Morganfield was the first town to actually give us the key to the city, which was kind of shocking.
That is really cool.
And then that started a chain of events, which gets us notoriety and gets us some kind of legitimacy. Then Panama City gave us the key to the city. And then Slocum, Alabama, the tomato capital of the world, gave us the key for some stuff we did, some work there with their kids. So it's been amazing. And what's been amazing is as we went, I started out by myself. And then as we've added team members to it, there's 4 of us now that do it. One gentleman come aboard and got us 501c3 certified, whatever, through the IRS. So we have a nonprofit. We have that tax exempt number. That really rocketed us. So just like you with your coffee sponsors, we have some sponsors here so that we were able to buy the brochures, the bags you can see, shirts. And I think I told Turtle or one of you, what the kid receives is, say, for instance, you called me and said, hey, we've got a kid. You go to our website, you email us and say, hey, we've got a kid that we think would need this. Basically, what they get in the packet is the kid would get a helmet with his name on it. All the firefighters would sign the helmet. The chief gives them you're a certified firefighter for the day, Panama City. They get the bag with the goodies. They'll get a couple coffee mugs and whatever else. We box it up, send it to the hospital. So that's kind of how that goes. We did 4 here remote from Panama City, as you remember. I think you were part of one of them. And that's how we do it. And it's really just really take hold and grow. So we take donations from other firehouses that have helmets that they think we can repurpose. We've teamed up with Line Helmets, and they are helping us out with some old helmets that they have.
That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the sales reps that sells Line in Panama City, Florida, he actually got with us, and since he's teamed up with us, he has gotten us about 15 brand new in the box.
Oh, wow.
So we don't have to do anything with the carcinogenic. So we're kind of getting away from that, but really it's been crazy, man. Like I said, we're at 71 or 72 kids as of right now. No one in the organization gets paid. It's all strictly volunteer, the 4 team members. And we're trying to get to 100, and we're trying to do it quickly. That's where we're at.
So for somebody that has a kid, do they have to be terminal? What are some qualifications or factors that would kind of qualify a kid to be in this program?
So the best thing I tell people is go to lidsforkids.us and take a look at the kids that we've already given to. It's been anything from Down syndrome to kids with leukemia, kids going through a difficult time. And what we say is we're looking for people, young individuals that are going through a really difficult time, but they're strong and they're showing strength and they're doing all the right things. And we're just doing this to encourage them and let them know that the fire department's behind them. And some people think that we're tough, firefighters, we're tough guys and gals, but we're trying to let them know that they're the ones that are tough. So if you look at the lidsforkids.us, you'll kind of get a really good idea of the type of individuals that we're looking for and that would qualify for it. But I'm glad to say so far, we've never had to turn down anyone. We have enough helmets and we have enough supply of shirts and material to give out. So no one's been turned down yet, but really I always tell people, go to lidsforkids.us. The website, when I get back, we've actually got some guys, some really smart guys that have donated their time, and they are upgrading our site, which is going to be really cool. It's going to be interactive. And we have a donate button now that if you decide you want to donate, or if you'd like to send us some fire helmets that you have, we're going to make that a little bit more capable for them to do it. Yeah. And then, like I said, if you go to the lidsforkids.us, it gives my information. You can get a hold of me, gives my phone number direct. And then, like I said, there's the brochures. But lidsforkids.us is probably the best way to do it. Once you see that, you'll kind of get a feel for what we're looking for.
Exactly.
And we're not turning down anybody. That's the goal. Put a helmet on every kid that needs it.
So the best way, let's say we have, some firefighters or fire chiefs that watch this and they have helmets. What would be the best way to contact you? Would it be through that website, or do you have a Facebook Messenger? What are some ways to contact?
Probably the best thing to do would go to lidsforkids.us and then either email us, or my phone number's on there. They can call me direct or text me.
Right.
And then we'll go from there. If a chief called me and said, hey, we've got 5 or 6 really good helmets I'd like to send to you, we'll pay for the shipping.
Right. And I know, we've sent you several helmets too, and you've always, hey, we'll pay for the shipping. Just send us the helmets. What is one kid that stands out from the beginning of from starting this? What is one of the memories of them receiving a helmet? What's one of them that stands out?
So it's funny you say that. So we did 3 or 4 here in Morganfield. We did Drew, the kid that has TAR syndrome. So we done him, super family. There's someone going through a diversity in life, or really, I guess, a really struggling in life with a situation, and that family is handling it very well. And even Drew has if you know him, he has he has a great sense of humor. And then his mom and dad, they don't cut him no slack.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I love that. But I would say there's a kid that we gave, if you go to the site, one of the videos is a kid. So we heard about this kid have Down syndrome. and his name is Cool Cat Cole. Have you seen the video?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
So he's our number one fan, and I'll tell you why real quick. He's got Down syndrome, and he's like most of the individuals that we've done this. They just want to be normal. They just want to. They want a job. They want to go to work. They want to be part of the. And I find that a lot with the Down syndrome people. They're good people, just wanting to be like me and you.
Right.
Where some people complain about going to work or it's too hot or too cold. They just want to be normal. But this guy, a guy out of Birmingham, basically told us about this kid. And I said, well, let's send him a package. So this guy was very nice. He was nice enough. We sent it to him, and he actually delivered it and videotaped it of the guy opening the helmet. And the reaction that he had when he got the real fire helmet and the real shirt was exactly what we're looking for, spot on. So we've kind of said that Cool Cat Cole is our national sponsor because he's a sponsor guy.
Like he's the face of Lids for Kids.
He is the face of Lids for Kids because he's incredible. But if you see that, you'll know it. And then one time he was at the beach visiting and he wanted some shirts. So we brought him out some shirts, and I had won a Mountain Dew cooler. Did I tell you the story? I had won a Mountain Dew cooler. I'd never win nothing. And I won a Mountain Dew green cooler. And I was giving him shirts, and he saw the Mountain Dew cooler, and he said, I got to have that. And his dad said, what? He goes, I got to have that cooler. He goes, man, you got to give me that cooler. And his dad said, he's giving you enough. That's enough. So I thought about it a couple months, and he asked me about the cooler over the phone. And then eventually I sent the cooler to him. So we got that on video. He was super excited about the cooler. But I would say Cool Cat Cole is it. Lets you know that what we're doing is for the right reasons and all that good stuff. So it's a constant reminder of how blessed most of us are and don't realize it. And that's what I think Lids for Kids is. I think it helps the people that we're aiming to help, like the kids, the individuals that get the helmets. And we've done girls, boys. I think the oldest is probably 26 or 27. Yeah. The youngest has been probably 6 or 7, something like that. So there's a wide range of what we've affected. But I think the people that get involved with this and help do this get more out of it than the families that we help, I think. That's why it's working so well.
And people don't understand that, a lot of people may just think it's a fire helmet and it's, cliche or whatever. But that's just a light in their darkness when they receive something like that. Especially I've learned through it being in the fire service that young kids love the fire service. They love firefighters. They like license sirens and the flashy stuff. And, anytime that you can spend time with them, they're always so inquisitive. They want to know exactly what you do, So this program, to me, I've been interested in it since the first time I met you. And I've been, we've been pushing it and trying to get more people on board. And hopefully that when we share this video, it'll pick up and we can get it. And something really, really cool that I like, and I've shared it a few times, is your brand new promotional video that you guys shot, which looked like a movie to me. It was so phenomenal, done really well. We're going to put that in here as well. We're going to add it to the video if that's okay with you. We'll put it at the end of the video. So either people can watch the video and skim through it, or they can watch the whole thing to get to it, however they want to do it. So now that we've got the Lids for Kids stuff out of the way, let's talk about what brought you to Kentucky hunting. Where, you're from Florida, so you've got a vast variety of species at your doorstep. You don't live but just a few minutes from the ocean, so you can go catch these big sharks. You can catch these, but you choose to come. He actually bought some land in Kentucky, so you're not considered, I guess you are, an out-of-state hunter, but you're vested here, right? And you're not here to shoot small deer. You want the trophy deer like everybody else. So kind of fill us in on what brought you to Kentucky, kind of some of the hunting stuff that you do back home, and maybe some of the equipment you use.
Well, being a big bow hunter, and that's primarily what I like to do. I always heard about hunting Kentucky, Pike County, Illinois, stuff like that. Well, a good friend of mine brought me up here to hunt Higgis and Henry about 9.5 years ago. Didn't know a soul. Stayed down here at the Hometown Inn. And back and forth. Fell in love with Higgis and Henry. Saw some really nice bucks. Didn't kill any, but saw some nice bucks. Got me coming back. I met some really good people here, and then it just kind of snowballed. And I wouldn't have thought that 9 years ago, coming here, not knowing anybody, I never heard of Morganville, Kentucky. My friend hadn't have brought me to Higgis and Henry is the reason that I'm here. If he hadn't have brought me, I would have never come to Kentucky. I can assure you of that. But since I've been here, I've met a lot of people like yourself. I've met the fire chief. I've met a lot of people, and most people have been extremely good to me and very nice to me. And that is part of the reason that I bought the land up here. And I always tell people, I travel public land and I go all the way. I've been to Iowa, Kansas twice, Minnesota, and I hunt public ground with a bow. And what me and a friend that travels with me, Paul Winterman, we talk about it all the time. And I just told him the other day, the hunting, take the hunting out of it. It's amazing the friends and the people that I've met along the way is probably going to be stick with me longer than any experience in the woods. But that's what brought me here. Love to bow hunt, big time avid bow hunter. Matter of fact, that's the reason I'm in camouflage today. Come straight from the woods, straight here. But I've just fell in love with it. Me and another good friend bought 2 acres, like you mentioned, up the road. Got a little cabin and just enjoy. It's just different. You see the hills, you see everything that you got here. And then you guys, you want to see something different. So everybody comes to the beach, and I've had enough of the beach and the white sand. Yeah. So what brings me here every year is good people, beautiful land, and trying to hunt for that big buck. That's what brings me back every time.
So have you had any luck this year? Do you have any prospects on cameras
no. We're running a bunch of cameras at a farm that we're down on by the river, and nothing has showed up this year. Probably not. We don't have a shooter on, and we got a bunch of small bucks. So we did do some doe harvesting earlier with the bow. This afternoon, even though it's rifle season, I had the bow and had a small 7 and some other does come. But no, haven't had anything on camera worth talking about. And it's good. Trying out the new saddle system. Been trying that for a year.
Yeah, how do you feel about that? That's so, a lot of the videos we do, we're testing different products for ourselves. We try to stay in a budget. We like to take the least amount of stuff and be successful hunting. Right. Our camouflage, I couldn't afford to coup you. Like you worked your butt off your whole entire life, and now you're able to do it. I'm not saying I would never buy it, but what we try to do is we try to go and we'll go to the big box stores and we'll buy that camouflage, or we'll whatever we have, and we try to go out and we harvest deer. I'm a big treason camouflage guy. I love treason. It's some of my favorite camouflage. Really good price, and that's usually what I hunt. Predator camo, some of that stuff. But that's kind of where we at. That's one of the reasons we started this, is to try to get people that's not normally into hunting. And again, this was one of the videos or interviews that we wanted to do. And Troy's not here tonight. He's sick. He wanted to be here, but he couldn't. But I knew your schedule was super tight, so I figured, we had to get it done tonight. So we wanted to go ahead and do it. But coming to Kentucky and traveling, and you even got rid of a truck to get another truck to a little better on gas mileage, right? So
had a Tundra, get rid. Well, back to your fact about hunting. I told my kids, I've paid for a little bit of college and paid for some cars and paid for some stuff, and I'm 57, and I've had 2 jobs since I was 15, and I feel kind of bad because I never dreamed that I'd be in KUIU. And be honest with you, I got this stuff at 50% off on sale. That's the only reason I'm wearing it. I do like it. But Sitka gives firefighters, as you know, they give us 40% off. So most of my stuff is Sitka. Tonight I am dressed all in KUIU, whatever. It just happens to be what I got.
Right.
But I tell everybody this. To me, bow hunting, and it's kind of funny, the church farm, I don't know how spiritual we're going to get, but my grandfather was a Pentecostal preacher. And my mother has more rings than Tom Brady. She's been married 11 times. So I grew up dirt poor, and when I was a young man, I'd be over at my grandmother's going through the garage, and I remember I found a little recurve bow that she had, somehow my uncle had it or something. And I went to the local sporting goods, got a string. She said I could have it, got a string, got a couple wooden arrows, and started shooting anything from tadpoles to mullet down there at the bridge. While my mom would be laying out in the sun, I'd be shooting mullet, piece of fishing line. And I literally started in the ditch with a recurve bow, shooting frogs and whatever I could shoot. And I swear to you, I fell in love with that passion. To me, archery is like karate or any meditation or anything. If you got to put in the work, and it makes you get dedicated, it makes you get closer to the animal. Archery and bow hunting, the whole thing I think is very almost spiritual to me. Mm-hmm. So I started at a very, very low grassroots trying to do it. And it is funny now, I see myself at 57. I am wearing KUIU. I do have 2 acres up the road. I do have a little deer camp. I have a nicer truck, and I shoot a nice bow. But I think it goes back to the basics. I don't know that you have to have all that stuff. I'm using the Latitude saddle system. I've been using it for 2.5 years. Before then, I was always in lock-ons. But I'll tell you this, the saddle system will take over because I think it's just so versatile, so light, so easy. And once people get used to it, and as you can see, it first started, there was only 1 or 2. Right. Now there's 10. And being in the fire service, which I was on the first technical rescue team that the city of Panama City ever had. And all this stuff that we're doing in the saddle, system is the same stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That the type of lines, the carabiners, and all that good stuff. So it plays hand in hand, especially for me. But once I've gotten used to it, I really, really like it. It's light, it's easy, and you can get in and get out.
And that's kind of, what I was starting to say is I've been thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
I got a climber, a summit climber, Viper is what I have, and a lot of ground blind. We got some tree, ladder stands and things like that. And I've been back and forth. I've got it in my cart. I've got I got a tethered system in my cart. And I just can't pull the trigger on it because I'm kind of unfamiliar with it for one.
Sure.
I think what I would like to do is maybe get with you sometime or somebody local that uses a saddle system. And there's a gentleman that does some primitive hunting. I'm going to try to get him on to get an interview as well in the county. He was actually on a TV show alone. Pretty cool dude. And Turtle knows him really well.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get with him. He does a lot of saddle hunting. Sure. So, and it's just that out of the safe zone, like you talk about, in my opinion, you're successful because you started with that stick and that string, and now you've stayed with it and you've grown so much that you were able to not only just the hard work and dedication, but now you have that 2 acres in that cabin, and you have the ability to travel, and you have the ability to purchase the things you want, not necessarily that you need, but the things you want, and I think that's what we all strive for, is to not only be a better person, but to, you don't want to go to work to have a house payment. You don't want to be house payment poor.
Sure.
In my opinion, I could care less. Give me a cardboard box and a can of Vienna sausages.
Sure.
But it's really cool to see that, this program. We'll get back to that real quick before we go, because I know we got the Tyson and Paul fight here in just a little while.
Sure.
So, but the Lids for Kids program, if you go to their website, what was their website again?
Lidsforkids.us.
So their brochure, you can get them. I'm pretty sure. I think there's some still at the City Fire at Morganfield.
We keep some. I think you should have some at Morganfield. But the best thing to do is just go to LIDS, 4 kids.us. It's on the back of the cup. We can spin that cup around and see it there. If you go to lidsforkids.us, you get Turtle.
We got Turtle on the camera tonight.
We got Turtle on the camera. That's a really good thing. So, yeah, I think it. I would say this real quick. You asked me about Lids for Kids, and you asked me about this, and I would say this message can go along with the church farm whitetails and beer and whatever else we're doing. But I think everybody's a little spiritual, and I would say this: when I go out and speak to kids in our area at Panama City, and I'm always talking fire safety, Lids for Kids, whatever I'm doing, depending on the group of kids, because I know what it's like to be that guy gets put on the bus and gets the free clothes and gets the brown bag with the underwear and stuff. I grew up that way on food stamps, low housing. I grew up that way. I just decided to do something different, and I'm not that smart, but I've worked 2 jobs, like I said, since I was 15, like a lot of my friends. A lot of my friends have worked really hard, and there will be a point in your life where you can have some things that are a little nicer than you used to have if you stay with it. But I always tell people this: the number one thing I think has helped me personally, that I try to preach to everybody to do, is if you're nice to everyone that you meet and you do more for others than you get done to you, it comes back tenfold.
Absolutely.
And someone just sent, one of the motivational guys I listened to the other day he said, take a week and pretend like everyone you see is Jesus Christ. So in other words, if it was your wife and they're washing dishes and you look and she's washing dishes and you go, what would I do if that was Jesus Christ? I'd go wash the dishes or help her wash the dishes. If I saw my son out there raking the yard and I said, that's Jesus Christ raking the yard, what would I do? Go rake the yard. And I think if you're good to people and you're a giver, not a taker, and you're always trying to give from the heart and do the right thing and help people, there's no doubt about it. I got a brother in prison and I got a sister that has major problems with substance abuse. And I'm so blessed to be where I'm at. But I believe it comes back from doing things like Lids for Kids, helping others, and just trying to be a good person to make people's lives better. I think it really works. I think it mentally, spiritually, and everything comes together. If you'll do more for others than you're having done to you, your life will be pretty blessed. That's the message I preach with Lids for Kids or at the firehouse.
Well, with that being said, there's nothing I can say to top of that. So we're going to close this out. I'd like to thank Shanen Frenchy, as we know him by, for coming up. You guys go check out Lids for Kids. Check out Ironstein Coffee at www.iron-steincoffee.com. That's Ironstein Coffee and are located in Morganfield, Kentucky. They are our first unofficial official sponsor, so we really want to thank them tonight. And remember, once we hit 1,000 followers or subscribers on our YouTube or Facebook or whatever platform hits it first, we're doing a big giveaway. We're going to have a big basket of stuff we're going to send to a particular viewer who we'll figure out a way to draw that viewer. We'll probably put everybody's name that is subscribed to our channel in a spinning wheel, and we'll let the computer figure it out. But we are going to do a big giveaway. We're getting some stuff in. We'll even throw in some lids for kids, shirts,
Absolutely.
and coffee mugs and
Yep.
things like that. So with that being said, what is it you always say at the end of your videos?
Always say it. Remember, you guys be good to one another.
That's it.